Now, this is the story of Moses and the burning bush. It's coming from Exodus 3 and 4. Now, Moses was leading the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the Midianite priest. He was leading the flock around the wilderness, around Sinai, the mountain of God. And the angel of the Lord appeared to Moses in a burning bush. The bush was on fire, but it wasn't burning up. So Moses thought, I'll go over and see why the bush is not burning up. And the Lord called to Moses from the bush, and Moses said, "Here I am." And the Lord said, "Don't come any closer, take your shoes off. The place on which you are standing is holy ground. I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." And Moses covered his face, for he was afraid to look at the Lord. And the Lord said that he had seen the suffering of his people in Egypt, and he had heard them crying out in their afflictions. And he was coming down to rescue them out of Egypt and to lead them into a land of their own, a land flowing with milk and honey, the land occupied by the various Canaanite tribes. Now Moses was to go, the Lord said, and go to Pharaoh, that is, and rescue Israel out of Egypt. But Moses said, "Who am I to go to Pharaoh and to lead Israel out of Egypt?" And the Lord said to Moses, "I will be with you, and this will be the sign that I have sent you. When you have brought Israel out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain." And Moses said, "Now if the Israelites ask, 'Who is this God of our fathers that is sending you? What is his name? What should I say to them?" Moses said. And the Lord said, "I am who I am. Tell the Israelites that I am has sent me to you." And the Lord said, "Tell Israel and their elders that Yahweh, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, had promised to rescue Israel out of Egypt and to bring them into a land of their own, a land flowing with milk and honey." And Moses was to go to Pharaoh and to say to Pharaoh, "The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says, let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness where we can offer sacrifices to the Lord our God." But Pharaoh would refuse to let the Israelites go, and the Lord would raise his hand against the Egyptians, and he would strike the Egyptians with his miraculous signs, and then Pharaoh would let them go, and the Egyptians would give the Israelites their articles of silver and gold, and in this way the Israelites would plunder the Egyptians. Now Moses said, "Lord, what if the Israelites do not believe that you have appeared to me, and they won't listen to me or believe me?" Then the Lord said, "Now take your shepherd's staff and throw it on the ground." And Moses did, and it turned into a snake. And Moses jumped back, and the Lord said, "Now pick it up by its tail." And Moses did, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. Then the Lord said, "Put your hand into your cloak." And when Moses put it in and then pulled it out, it was leprous. And then the Lord said, "Now put it back in your cloak." And when he put it in and pulled it out again, it was completely healed. And the Lord said, "Now if the Israelites will not believe these, or they're not convinced by these 2 signs, then take some water from the Nile and pour it out on the ground, and it will turn to blood on the dry ground." Now Moses said, "Lord, but I have never been a good speaker, and even though you have spoken to me, I am still not a good speaker." And the Lord said, "Moses, who makes a man's mouth? Who makes him speak or not speak, or hear or not hear, or see or not see? Is it not I, the Lord? Now I will be with you, and I will teach you what to say." Now Moses said, "Lord, please send someone else." And the Lord was angry with Moses, and the Lord said to Moses, "Your brother Aaron, the Levite, he's a good speaker. He's coming to meet you. He will be your spokesman, and you will tell him what to say. Now those who wanted to kill you in Egypt, they are dead. So go to Pharaoh and tell him to let my people go. But I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will refuse to let you go. And then you are to say to Pharaoh, 'Israel is my firstborn son. Let my son go, so that he may worship me. But because you refuse to let my son go, I will strike down your firstborn son.'" Now, Moses went to the mountain of God and he met Aaron, and Aaron and Moses went to Egypt, and they told the elders of Israel everything that the Lord had commanded them. And Moses performed the miraculous signs in their sight. And when the Israelites heard that the Lord had seen their suffering and was coming down to rescue them, they bowed their heads and they worshipped. And this is the story of Moses and the burning bush from Exodus 3 and 4.